Harrison Price for Thursday, April 2nd, 2026. We're a presentation of Bet365. Check out Bet365's 3-goal early payout. When your team goes up 3, you get paid. It's that simple. Download the app today. Must be 19 plus. Please play responsibly. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio here at the historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Matt Sekeres alongside Blake Price. Mike Rogerson hitting switches and conducting things. A man who has recorded Chris Isaak's Wicked game more times than he can remember.
It's good. It's a good song, but you would get sick of it.
I don't know.
No, it's that good.
Is
a
that
song.
good?
It's that good a song.
When you only got one.
The
right?
guitar is just amazing. Video's pretty good too. Back in the day,
I don't think he was not there.
We've told you Mike's the most interesting guy in Vancouver.
Mm.
He spent years running the music on the Chris Isaak show, and thus Wicked Game,
Which people liked. People liked that show back in the day.
People liked the show. People loved the song.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, they love the song.
Yeah.
I found a Jack Black rendition of the song yesterday, scrolling through my timeline.
He's so good.
Tenacious D. Speaking of tenacity, what a game last night. I was wondering what I was watching.
When you're a bad team, but sometimes the planets align, things like that'll happen. And
we need some of those. Oh, my God, do we need some of those?
Oh, that was fun. And the fact that dropped out of nowhere, I think, is what tickled so many people, is that there was just no accounting for that to happen last night of all nights.
Oh.
And it actually made it a lot more fun than if it had happened versus the Calgary Flames, because you wanted them to come back to some degree. Like, who cares about the goals against averages at this point? The fact that they came back and then made us care about the final score again a little bit, I mean, it was great. It was good entertainment.
Well, and historic might be too strong a word, but irregular victory last night for the Vancouver Canucks in an NHL context. We'll get into that story. But yeah, you know there's going to be a lot of painful nights in a rebuild. You hope you get nights like that meted out just so, right? So every time that you're sitting there tuned in, and I don't know about you, I tuned in last night going, oh, God, I wonder how ugly this can get. And yeah, it was a night where, I don't know about you, but I watched the game. So the goal goes in. I watch the replay. And then typically I pick up my phone because now we're going to discuss it and we're going to go, face it off. There's a little break in the action. There were a couple times last night where I went, picked up the phone. Okay, what's going on? And then another goal went in.
Oh, I had to watch probably 4 goals on replay because I was.
I missed that. I have to go.
Or I had the audacity to want to get a bite to eat or something like
exactly.
that. It was.
Don't run to the kitchen.
It's a lot of goals.
This guy had the over. What was it? 8.5 goals.
I had said 7.5 too.
Oh my God, 7.5. They cleared that by the middle of the game.
And when I was deciding what I was going to do with my odds of the day, best bets, I half considered 8.5, but then I'm like, I'm asking for a 6-3 game.
Yes.
And I was like, it's possible, but it just seems a little bit greedy because they had just scored 9 versus the Flames. Remember,
right?
So they do have 15 goals in 2 games now. The Colorado Avalanche, but one thing Canucks fans can take some great pleasure in: you have made the Avalanche now very squirrely about their goaltending choices in the playoffs.
Oh gosh,
they don't know what to do. I don't think.
And look, I know he's persona non grata with Canucks fans. We had that episode 2 years ago in the playoffs with Edmonton where Luke Gastick seemingly wasn't able to break the tie with a team that he once played for.
Right.
But I thought Gastick did excellent work in the first intermission explaining Blackwood and how he always plays the puck on his forehand and how his coaches have been saying to him, we've got to mix it up here. and illustrating that a lot of the Canucks forecheck and possession in the offensive zone was premised on Blackwood misplaying the puck or being too predictable in the way he placed the puck.
Yeah.
Right down to after he, misplays it or plays it and the Canucks get a goal, he looks over at the bench like, is the hook coming? And look, Colorado's not going to win a cup if they play like that. Jared Bednar said in the postgame, how disappointed he was and, name checked and said, hey, we're not winning anything in the playoffs playing like that.
Well, they did try to do what we've seen so many teams do this season, and that is waste 20 minutes in the first period, play 20 good minutes in the second period, blow the Canucks away, and then cruise through the third.
Because the Canucks have the long change.
Yeah, they couldn't possibly figure that out. So the Avs maybe...
Let's just get them to the second period, and then we'll feast, because they can't execute the long change.
And it's subconscious. I think good teams go into a game with the Canucks a little bit, unpsyched about the game to come against the worst team in the league, and they maybe just don't show their best in the first period, but eventually realize, oh, crap, it's tied or we're down a goal. We've got to beat this team, and then they execute in the second period and, again, cruise to victory. They couldn't flick the switch. They couldn't find the switch for some reason. And we are into the final stages of the second period, and the Avalanche have 9 shots on goal. It actually prompted Ferraro to say, this is the best defensive effort of the Canucks season so far. Clearly, he said it too soon because eventually the Avs would end up outshooting
Wheels
the
came
Canucks.
off the wagon there.
But the Canucks shortened the game, and they again the execution was flawless for the Canucks, and that has been not the case for 98% of the games so far this season. But it was fun. Hey, it's a good TV show, and there's been
a very good
few
TV
times
show. Yeah,
we've been able to say that.
There have been a handful of games this year. An Anaheim game earlier in the year that was a good TV show. Canucks fans needed that. You sit down and commit 2.5 hours. You want some entertainment. Holy cow, were you not entertained last night? So much so, the peanut gallery in my house chirped. When Boeser finished it off with the empty netter, I go, oh, he got it. I sort of said aloud. She comes into the other room. She goes, what are you talking about? I go, Canucks. She goes, what's happening? I go, well, Boeser just got a hat trick. She goes, what's the score? I said 8-6. She goes, 8-6, and I'm only just hearing about this?
And Bluger nearly had a hat trick, too.
Ray's telling him to shoot it.
2-on-1, he had a hat trick on his stick, and if he gets that hat trick, Teddy Bluger ties a career high in goals. The guy's played a third of the season. Mm-hmm. He would have tied a career high in goals. And with Boeser's hat trick to 21 goals, what did I say yesterday? If he gets to 22, the hockey card doesn't look that bad.
It looks really good. Hockey card's looking a whole lot better for Boeser right now.
Outside chance at 25 goals.
Let's not get greedy.
No, I'm not getting greedy. I'm just saying, it is not impossible that he scores 4 goals in the remaining eight games.
That's the way he's going.
And he's going home tonight.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
He's tied for Roenick, second on the team in scoring now. Blake, he's only 4 points back of that number 40 fellow.
4 points back?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Who saw that coming?
Not I.
And of course, if you saw 8-6 coming too, I had Colorado minus 4.5.
Yeah. Well, 9-2 over the Flames. Again, it was right there. Proof of concept.
Let's get into today's daily poll question. Is Quinn Hughes public enemy number 1 for Canucks fans? You can vote yes, you can vote no. Do so at the Sekerson Price X and YouTube channels. Canucks with a quick turnaround after the euphoria of last night. Got to go into Minnesota tonight and another very good team in that top-heavy Central Division. We've been talking about it for weeks here now. The Central Division with Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota. It would appear that the Western Conference representative in the Stanley Cup Final is coming from that division.
You would think, unless
the Pacific
things change
Division,
in Edmonton. Yeah.
I mean, even Connor McDavid is calling it a pillow fight. For heaven's sakes, you got bottom feeders, lottery teams, top 10 pick teams that would be first place in the Pacific on the eastern side of the conference bracket. And Quinn Hughes was speaking this morning with regards to tonight's game against his old mates. Let's hear from the ex-Canucks captain who says he's not really sure what to expect.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like you're so day-to-day and the season's flown by and so much has happened that you don't even really think about it until it's here. So probably won't feel real till not even warm-ups, probably the game.
Probably more emotional when you actually go back to Vancouver, right? Versus like coming down here. And
yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I think it's just been such a long year. Like you don't even process. Like a lot's happened. You don't even process. Everything that's going on, and you're just playing. And at the end of the summer, you can kind of reflect and look back on what the year was like.
Nice chilly, rainy day, kind of fitting for the Canucks coming down.
There's some good weather there too, so that's all I'll say about that.
It's Minnesota.
I was going to say, I'm sorry, is that Minnesota chirping weather?
Ice and snow.
I mean, you were buried under snow not long ago. Like, I can take weather chirps from L.A., Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not taking no weather chirps from Minnesota.
Are you kidding me?
You don't shovel rain, Minnesota. I'm sorry, are the Twin Cities up for an Olympic Games anytime soon? Is the FIFA World Cup going to St. Paul?
Probably not.
No.
Probably.
Is anybody going to St. Paul voluntarily?
Yeah, the tourism budget is
exactly.
probably a little bit different.
I would love to see the brochure. Come to the Twin Cities. Make it July. But the second part, that second answer, I can completely understand if Quinn feels like this has been a whirlwind year. I mean, he gets greeted at training camp with Rutherford says you want to play with your brothers, to dreadful month of November for the Canucks, wants out, gets his wish in mid-December quickly, ups and has to leave, learn a new town, new team, all of that, then whisked off to the U.S. Olympic team in Milan in the games, gold medal, huge media tours, flying back and forth to New York City to do promotional events, SNL, late-night talk show couches. I guess there's seats now. So that part resonated as true.
This is not unique to his trade, but I do think for guys that spend 5, 6, 7 years with a team and then and then have to face them relatively soon after. In a game like this, I wonder if there's usually an uptick in giveaways. Like you were programmed for years and years and years to look for blue and or white on the ice, and then now you're looking for a different color, yet that color's still coming out. It would be in those split seconds where you just put your head up, there might be the odd mistake that happens.
Petey's open. I should give him the...
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That was a bad idea even when I was in Vancouver.
Don't worry. Nothing will happen.
No, number 40 ain't getting the puck for me.
Might still be a strategy, actually.
That's right. Petey's open. Give him the puck. Okay. And as we all know, Quinn was close with a lot of his teammates and goes way back with some of these guys, including Brock Boeser to his rookie year, right? Mm-hmm. Boeser was here. Pettersson was here. And he was asked about playing against some of his good friends on the Vancouver Canucks.
I don't know. You get so close with these guys and you play them in practice every day, and I don't know, obviously playing my brothers, that's weird too, and I feel like I'm kind of used to scenarios like this. But yeah, and honestly, I don't really know a lot of their guys. Obviously I played with some of the young guys there, but for 3-4 months, a lot of the guys I was there with for the meet in my 6 years aren't there.
Well, I mean, again, yes and no. Pettersson and Boeser predated you. You played the better part of, a year and a half on a defense pair with Philip Roenick. He's still here. DeBrusk was here last year. Carlson was here last year. O'Connor was here last year, I guess not for the entirety thereof. Okay, Garland, Sherwood are gone. Myers is gone. I hear you there. And, well, I mean, the one thing we do know and the one thing we can say is Quinn Hughes has upped his lot in life when it comes to regular season standings and going to the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. He would not have been doing that here. And when we, circling back to the poll question, is Quinn Hughes public enemy number one for Canucks fans? One of the things that I'm seeing more and more from Canucks fans, and look, some of it is rationalizing, right? Defense mechanisms, but I get it. What did we ever win with him? And it's a fair shout. One playoff series.
Yeah. Yeah, and played with a couple of, I'll give JT Miller a 100-point season. Played with two 100-point forwards during their primes as well.
I guess we can say two playoff series if you want to count the first round of the bubble plus the play-in series, but
yeah, but even that has another asterisk attached to it as well. So, hey,
well,
great.
You didn't play here in Vancouver. I mean, you remember the discussion 2 years ago in April from Quinn and a lot of these other Canucks about, oh my God, I've never seen the city like this. I've never heard Rogers Arena like this. Well, it's because their previous postseason turn was in the Edmonton bubble.
Listen, you're not going to get me to badmouth the skills of the player. I think he is, without a doubt, one of the top 2 or 3 defensemen on the globe.
Yep.
So, I'm not going to waver on that.
No.
I do have questions.
There's no flies on the player and the way he plays.
The player,
the person is a little different,
but the player also includes leadership and ability to rise to the occasion and all that sort of stuff. And I thought he was fine at the Olympics. I didn't think he was amazing at the Olympics. I thought he was fine. And his leadership, I think, has a lot of question marks around it. So, can you win with Quinn Hughes? Well, we'll see. There's a lot that goes into winning, teammates and situations and all that. I don't think it's a slam dunk that Quinn Hughes wins a Stanley Cup with the Minnesota Wild.
Well, I'm not sure it's a slam dunk. Quinn is with the Minnesota Wild beyond next season.
Mm-hmm. That too.
Because of course he hasn't re-signed there.
Can't resign yet. Has to wait till summer.
Yeah. I was of the opinion when he first got there, I don't think he's staying there. I do believe the Hughes brothers want to play together. I think Jim Rutherford got that right. I would still put my money on him being a New Jersey Devil.
See,
after next season.
My guess is the Hughes brothers that are there, while they are under contract, they probably don't love what they've seen from New Jersey's front office in their ability to stock that team. That team has been should be ready for a lot of years in a row here, and they aren't ready.
Well, I do wonder whether they're making a managerial change at the end of the season with Tom Fitzgerald. Yeah. I think that's appropriate. I think Tom Fitzgerald has screwed it up.
But then that becomes a very big year in order to show some direction that Quinn Hughes would want to be a part of that.
Well, except, Quinn Hughes isn't a pawn. He's not even a bishop or a knight. He's a queen on the chessboard, right? Like he affects the proceedings in a big, big way. And I would bet that Quinn Hughes believes, and his two brothers believe, if we just get Quinn Hughes, if we just get Quinn here, we're going to do a lot of winning.
Maybe. We'll see.
I voted no on the poll. I think the owner is a bigger public enemy right now for Canucks fans than Quinn.
Yeah, it felt very heated towards Quinn leading into the Olympics because of that extra nuance. Now that is in the rear view, and even though they won, I feel like just the temperature gauge is down a little bit on Quinn, and the owner is always in the crosshairs. So
Now, there are a lot of Canucks fans that believe he quit on the team, and that is a very fair assessment.
I think he did too. That's my opinion as well.
Yep, that is a very fair assessment.
He's too good a player to do what he did in a Canucks uniform this year. Like, he's too good a player for his totals and his play to look like it did.
Yeah.
And of course,
so you're saying he, dialed it back on the ice. I think there's a broader interpretation of quit that he wanted out so quickly.
I put it in my basket too. All of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Done. The thing that I think is true on a parallel track, though, is that the Canucks failed Quinn Hughes more than Quinn Hughes failed the Vancouver Canucks. You did not build a team around him that was designed for success, particularly this season. I think it's less of a harsh assessment in previous years, certainly 2 years ago when they played so well. But this year, from the jump, everybody knew this team ain't good enough. They are so exposed at center ice to one injury and with an injury-plagued center, and sure enough, it happened with Filipino 2 weeks into the season.
I would say that management failed them, but so did his buddies JT and Elias as well.
Yep, that's fair too. Let's move to our top story. Anyways, vote on the poll.
Mm-hmm.
Is Quinn Hughes public enemy number one for Canucks fans? Our top story brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. What a game. And more of that, please. How about tonight against the ex-captain? Canucks won a thriller 8-6, and Denver beat the league-leading Avalanche in the biggest NHL regular season upset in 15 months and the second largest upset in the last 3 years. Now comes the back-to-back turnaround. Going to be tough against a good Wild team and Quinn Hughes tonight in Minnesota. We mentioned this yesterday as we were doing our Bet365 bets of the day. It is very rare to see an NHL regular season underdog going off at +3 something, and it is very rare to see an NHL regular season favorite going off at -4 something. That was the case yesterday. The Canucks closed as a +360 underdog, so $100 to win you $360. The Colorado Avalanche closed as a -460 favorite, so $460 bet to win $100. We've got someone who's done the math here. Evan Abrams. Did we have that up, Mike?
Yep.
He reports that only Anaheim, who went into Raleigh last year as a +380 underdog, has been a bigger underdog winner in the NHL over the last 3 years. So it's the biggest regular season upset in 15 months, and it's the second biggest of the last 3 years.
Wow.
The 8 goals is a season high for the Canucks. And J-Pat dug through the annals. It is the most goals since they destroyed that awful San Jose team a couple of years ago, 10-1 in November 2023.
With Mackenzie Blackwood also surrendering 4 of those goals.
Yeah, poor Mackenzie Blackwood.
So that's 10 goals surrendered to the Canucks. Not probably more than that, you take into, but at least 10 goals over the last 3 seasons to the Canucks.
Max Sassone's opening goal, 29 seconds in, the earliest opening goal of the Canucks season. And Sassone later established the fastest speed burst by a Canuck this year, clocking in at 23.69 miles per hour.
And a lot of Sassone's goals look like that goal. Like, I would say 8 of them, probably of the 12, kind of look like that goal. He's sort of a Mason Raymond. Like, his goals are of one brand. And, he's got 12. He hasn't been in every night, Matt. Worthwhile player to have around next year?
Oh, yeah.
I'm
a Sassone guy. I think he can be a viable bottom 6 player for you.
And yet he hasn't been able to stay in the lineup every single night.
No. But certainly for the next, as you're rebuilding here, Blake, I'm fine with Sassone in the lineup. Better on the wing than at center, but you get into an emergency.
And speed guys who speed can be complementary
That's
players.
right.
We've
That's right.
seen Öhgren have success being that with a little bit better skill set.
I mean, I don't think Sassone's ever going to play with a creative, playmaking setup artist centerman who's going to help him produce huge goal scoring totals, but I think he can be complementary scoring. And we'll get into more of the particulars of this wild, crazy game in a moment. But as for tonight, look, I think there are three things that are important. Number one, from the perspective of a Canucks fan who's, tuning in tonight to watch the X with the new partner. Number one, don't let him beat you, right? Like, don't let him have an all-world night and be the headline in the first start tonight.
And the danger, though, with a guy like this is
he could very well be.
But it means that you're if he's bearing down on you as a player X, and you've got to decide what kind of gap am I going to give Quinn Hughes here, and you're not going to get by me. You've got to really pick your spots about when you want to dive in on Quinn Hughes, because the danger when you're so ramped up like this, so I can't let him burn us on this night, is he spins away from you and makes it look really easy, and Quinn Hughes just looks like even more Quinn Hughesy than Quinn Hughes. It's a danger. It'll be interesting to see how much they resist the flashing lure there that he puts in the water for everybody.
The Hughesiest Hughes. Whoever Hughes.
Yes.
Don't allow that tonight.
No.
Number one. Number two, I think Canucks fans want to see the return for Quinn Hughes play well tonight in their old stomp.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll have motivation too, right? Like Zeev Buium, Marco Rossi, Liam Öhgren. Bill Guerin gave up on you. He thought you expendable. Despite the fact Minnesota was having a pretty good year. So I think it would help. A little bit of tonic, a little bit of salve if some combination of Buium, Öhgren, and Rossi.
And all three have had a decent month. If you go back the last 4 weeks, all three have played pretty well.
Certainly Rossi and Öhgren have,
yeah.
But I think the thing Canucks fans most want to see is somebody staple the elusive Quinn Hughes, a little visceral justice for the Quit Hughes crowd that believes the captain build on their team.
I don't think you're going to see that.
Well, he doesn't get hit a whole lot,
No.
right? Because he's just so shifty and small and elusive, and the edge work is sublime.
I just don't think
imagine the reaction, Blake, if somebody hits him with a good, clean body check tonight. Because, as we know, he's not the biggest customer out there.
Well, you know,
We saw the playoffs a couple of years ago and what Nashville and Edmonton were trying to do with him.
I don't think Curtis Douglas gets into the lineup tonight. I'm guessing he comes out. But a little hip check from Curtis Douglas on him, because then the Wild get all upset. They get all riled up. Curtis Douglas gets to drop the gloves.
Where would Curtis Douglas's hip be in relation to Quinn
it's a headshot. It's a headshot. Like, literally, it could be.
A hip check.
Well, I was trying to be humane for Quinn, but you're right. A hip check might be devastating, actually.
Right. So anyways, and that had become we talked about this for a couple of years, but particularly early this season when Quinn didn't really look the same, is teams have learned you've got to play physical with him. And we're trying their utmost to play physical against him again, even while he is so shifty and elusive. Okay, back on last night, you got to feel great for Boeser. It's a hat trick. It's the 7th of his career. And 17 games now since the Olympic break for the Vancouver Canucks. Brock Boeser has 9 goals. That leads the team.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 8 primary assists. That leads the team. He's got 18 points. That leads the team. He has been their champion through this, and let's face it, difficult stretch, right? Like, you knew you were out of it coming out of the Olympic break. A lot of these other players, a lot of these other teams were looking forward to the recommencement of the NHL season and the push to the playoffs. Vancouver didn't have that. Canucks players didn't have that sort of external motivation they could hang their hat on. They had to play for other reasons. And good on Brock. And he becomes the 6th player in franchise history with at least 7 20-goal campaigns.
I mean, he's salvaging this season. And here's what he has the chance to salvage. The totals are one thing. But his ability to just play in the National Hockey League and be and like that shot last night, Matt. The fact that he got a hat trick to me is immaterial, especially when one of them's an empty netter. That shot, that's what I would hold on to if I'm a Vancouver Canucks fan. That he still has the ability to ping that from distance. I mean, he wasn't that far over the blue line when he shoots that puck. And was there a screen there? Yeah, a little bit. But the velocity, the quickness in which that mesh rippled after, I couldn't believe that I saw what I saw. Literally, I was like, what happened there? Oh, he just shot and scored. The fact that is, again, with these veterans, man, I feel like we're just kind of like, do they still have the stuff that we thought they had?
I know.
And so the fact that, and even last night, I didn't think it was a spectacular game from Elias Pettersson in any way, shape, or form. But the fact that he almost scored on that waist-high pass when he's going down the middle there, and I know he didn't score, but he got everything on that tip. It was a tremendous hand. That proves to me
he's got some of the best hand-eye I have
it's
ever
there.
seen.
It
is extraordinary how many mid-air pucks that he gets to, and gets to with control often.
And the fact you bring that up, I think you're right. Like mid-air plays. He must have more mid-air plays than any other guy in the NHL.
And we talked about how he's not tipping pucks this year. Every year, 3 or 4 years before this year, it was always 20-plus tip pucks and a few goals per year just on tips. This year was only a couple of tip pucks as of a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was.
So it's there on both of those players. It is there. Now, you could say, well, then somebody else is going to see that. You could trade them. I mean, yeah, I don't know that it clarifies the issue at all because the should they stay, should they go question, I think, still is a valuable one to have with all the veteran players. Mm-hmm. But it is proof that the skill is in there.
Let's hear from number 6. Here's Boeser on a big night.
Honestly, I didn't feel that great for the first half of the game, and then, Tom made a great play there, Marco, Tom, and, got that second one. So we started to create some chances, and our line got better as the game went on, I thought.
How impressed were you just by the team to stick with it, especially at the end there when they tied things up?
Yeah, I was really happy. Obviously, it's been a rough go as of late, and, we just want to compete each and every night and play as hard as we can. So I thought, last game was better, and I thought tonight was better too.
Great play by Willander, too, we should mention, on that Boeser goal.
Yeah, great setup, and it shows that there's going to be missteps by these young defensemen, but good decisions to pinch, a proof of playmaking ability. It's good. It's good.
We know that Teddy Blueger isn't paid to score. That's not his primary role. But as we have gone through this wretched season for the Vancouver Canucks, one of the positive stories was Teddy Blueger is scoring at a pretty good rate.
Yep.
Well, that had dissipated over the last 10 games. He didn't have a single point. He had gone 11 without a goal.
Had he really? Wow.
He scored twice last night. His first was shorthanded. He's got 3 shorthanded goals this season. He scored 3 last year, shorthanded. And Teddy freaking Blueger, after that night, is up to 13 points in 27 games with 8 goals.
Half a point per game.
And could get to 10, Blake.
Yeah.
While playing less than half the...
If he plays every game, he'll have a 35-game season.
That's right.
So it could very well get to a 20-goal pace. I mean, he's at that 20-goal pace if he doesn't score the rest of the season because he can only get to 35 games. He's basically guaranteed a 20-goal pace season at this rate.
And Marcus Pettersson needed a big night too. Holy cow, has he had a difficult season. Like, I thought when they acquired Marcus Pettersson last year, they were getting a baseline player of, okay, there's not a ton of offense there, but he's a number 4 defenseman and a defensive defenseman. He's a legitimate second-pair defenseman. For a lot of this year, Blake, he has not looked like a second-pair defenseman. He's looked like a guy who you want to hide, manage. It was nice to see Marcus Pettersson have him a night, and he's up to 17 points now, 74 games. He scores the game winner, just his second of the season. His first on a goalie, his other was empty net. Finishes the night with a goal, 2 assists, and +4. And God, how often have we seen +4 in a Canucks box score this year for any individual
He's
player?
the plus-minus leader on the defense score. He's
At -9.
Yeah. Yeah, do with that stat what you will, but
Of course, game wasn't without its drama. The 6-2 lead evaporates. At 6-6, did you have any hope that they could get?
not really.
me
But,
neither.
I mean, it's such a wild game. It wasn't out of the realm of possibility. But when they scored 15 seconds or whatever into the third period, you sort of knew, okay, the floundering
game
to
is
find
on.
the switch.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
they have found it.
6-4, but I kind of like Colorado's chances from here.
Yeah. And sure enough, they got all the way back.
And like even Shorty and Ray were, on the. There's a lot can still happen here. So 6-2 evaporates. It's 6-6, but then Marcus Pettersson scores quickly, and they close it out. Here's Coach on a team response.
I mean, we've been resilient all year, especially like as of late. I mean, like Lanks has been, loaded up here, and that first goal at third, he wants it back, and then there was one from the blue line. He wants that back. Like he's played so well for us in Vegas, he gave us a chance to win. He's getting probably a little bit tired, but the players compared to probably 2 months ago or 6 weeks ago are staying in the game plan and not falling apart mentally. And I'm real proud of that. And like you said, the response from Bess, they know they deserve better in some of these games, the last 5-7 games. And they're, like you said, they're resilient. And, to see Bess lead like that is huge. It's huge for him as a leader to take that step. It's been a year where he's had to play in a defensive role with, Camp on his line and play against the top teams and or top lines. And then, the injuries, and he keeps fighting and keeping him in it. And to respond like that, it's awesome. It's an awesome thing to see.
Second highest NHL workload for Kevin Lankinen at 44 games. He did have a year in Helsinki in 16-17 where he played 42 regular and 14 playoff games, but it's been a long stretch. Tolopilo goes tonight, obviously, but I mean, it has been a little perplexing. Are they that worried about Tolopilo, considering that his save percentage is still better than Lankinen's?
Lankinen gives up 6 goals.
Yeah. I mean, but he's not the first time. I mean, his save percentage really didn't change last night.
No. Well, it's hard to change this deep into the year.
Goals against average, still better than Kevin Lankinen. Like, I don't know that they needed to play Kevin Lankinen in whatever it was, 9 straight games. Like,
And a Canucks fan named Kay wins Twitter from me last night. She tweets, "If I had a nickel for each time the Canucks pulled off an albeit meaningless upset thriller against a top contender in the month of April, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. Sure is. Can we bring your memory back 51 weeks ago? Dallas, Texas. Canucks trail 5-2. Final minute of the game. Atu Ratu scores. Pius Suter scores twice from there. Somehow, some way, they get to overtime and win it on a Kiefer Sherwood goal. That was April 8th of last season. And here we are, April 1st. So exactly 51 weeks where there is another thrilling kind of inexplicable win against the top contender. Of course, Dallas was pretty good last year, too.
Canucks had some crazy games. They went on to beat Colorado the 2 days later after that crazy Dallas win. But that was also a week after they'd lost in a shootout to Columbus 7-6. Remember that? That was a crazy one, too.
Another one. Well, if we're talking crazy games, do you remember that matinee in Minnesota a couple of years ago? We sat here watching, I think it was like MLK Day in the States or something like. It wasn't a holiday for us. We were in here watching it and just going, oh my God, look at all the goals. Anyways, let's hope for more fun tonight in Minnesota. What's up with Yellow Dog?
Lots is up with Yellow Dog, including Sail Beers. Everyone wants to hear about Sail Beers. The Neighborhood Brewing's Way of Life Hazy IPA. The 4-pack's on special for the month of April. Look for it on sale at private and government liquor stores.
Some news from the Vancouver Giants where top defenseman Ryan Lynn announces he is leaving the club for the University of Denver. The latest defection to the NCAA. This is going to become routine, everybody. Lynn is a right-shot defenseman, expected to go in the first round this June, may still be a top 10 pick. I mean, he was very highly regarded earlier in the season. He had an injury, so he missed some time this year. In fact, one of 2 Vancouver Giants that could go in the first round this year, Lynn and forward Mathis Preston, who was acquired from Spokane in a trade this year.
It's a... he can't play in the AHL next year, even if they expand it to all 19-year-olds, which is on the table now, because he's not even 18 yet. I think he's a month away or something from turning 18. So his best way to take a next step next year is to do this, right? Mm-hmm. And so for players like him, and again, it's a thin wedge. The number of players that at this age in their draft year have mastered the league that they're in. But I think you could say that he has mastered the WHL. He had a very successful individual year on a pretty bad team.
Yep.
Like he was not out of his depth. He
2 years in a row here. I mean, Richmond kid. He was 57 points in 53 games this year, coming off a 53-point campaign in 60 games.
Yeah, as a
defenseman, that's really, really good. Now, I can't speak to his defending, but the point totals, absolutely. I mean, you don't need to go back to junior hockey and put up 70 points or whatever you would put up next year.
No. So if you want to challenge yourself and make a next step forward, and you're not playing in the NHL next year.
It's like Gavin McKenna, right? Like he challenged himself going to Penn State this year.
So this is where the WHL, the CHL will have some trouble. Is that now that the door is open to hit that middle ground of collegiate hockey, a lot of guys are going to take it.
It's a better league. I mean, it's just it's better competition. Hell, some of these college free agents we're looking at are 24 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Kelowna, the Rockets, they're through the second round of the WHL playoffs. They sweep the Kamloops Blazers. Parker Alco's Canucks prospect with Kelowna closes out the series, 3 assists plus 8 in 4 games.
That's pretty good.
Penticton is up 3-1 in its series versus Seattle with Game 5 scheduled for tomorrow at the South Okanagan Events Center. This, of course, would be a historic series victory for the Penticton Vs in their first season in the WHL. They earned the number 2 seed in the Western Conference this year. And Prince George is up 3-1 in its series with Spokane with Game 5 going tonight in Spoke. Cougars would face the Vs in round 2.
BC battle, okay.
If both advance, Kelowna would get top-seeded Everett and Landon DuPont. That's if it goes to Hoyle. They reseed in the second round, so we'll see what happens.
That's a pretty fun series, too.
Yeah.
Some good names on both sides.
Yeah, Braden Coots scoreless. Prince Albert loses the first game of its series on the eastern side of the WHL. They're still up 3-1 in the series against Red Deer. They can close it out tomorrow in PA. And then we have spent some time recently talking about Canucks goaltending prospect Alexei Medvedev in the Ontario Hockey League. Dave Hall with some instructive video yesterday. We talked to Dave the other day. about Medvedev. And as Dave points out, like, look at how he attacks that guy going behind.
Why did he bite so
exactly.
much? Yeah.
You know, you put yourself out of position and you have to scramble back to the other side of the post.
Here it is again.
Yeah.
So much commitment to
I know.
the near post.
And as Hall notes, he's got to simplify his game to eliminate the scramble sequences we've seen far too often this year. The good news is at least Medvedev is playing for the Knights. There was some discussion about where he wouldn't play in the play, would be a backup. Alas, London is down 3-1 in its series against Sault Ste. Marie heading into tonight's Game 5. So this could be the end of Medvedev's season tonight. We'll see. A little surprising because, you know, hasn't been the year that the London Knights typically have. They're usually a juggernaut, but still was a pretty good regular. I mean, like a down year for them was third place in the division. So we'll see if he's done playing. Of course, there's a number of Canucks OHL prospects, and we'll see where they're at after the weekend, the long weekend, and heading into next week. All right, let's get to today's menu. It's brought to you by our friends at Greta. Greta, fantastic spot to catch all the games home and away, to pregame or postgame. You got happenings this weekend in the stadium. You may want to hit it up. Steps from the arena as well. And if you're planning a group outing, a private party, check out Greta. It's got a fantastic back room, private riser, surrounded by screens, surrounded by arcade games, delicious menu of food, fantastic service. Got a bar right there. For more info, to book your event, go to gretabar.com. Greta, 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin. Well, Rob Williams is going to join us, the national sports editor of the Daily Hive. As we have mentioned this week, we had invited Rob on the show from Monday onwards. Rob usually joins us between Wednesdays and Friday as a weekly guest. But yes, he is ready to speak about the events with the Daily Hive and Canucks Sports Entertainment this week. So Rob Williams is coming up next. And it's really just the one topic with Rob today, and that is everything that went on between the Daily Hive and the Canucks this week after that Trevor Beggs story, and, of course, after Beggs had his press credential removed and was walked out of Rogers Arena last Thursday. There was a two-barrel column from the Globe and Mail's Cahal Kelly yesterday on the episode with the Vancouver Canucks. And Blake, he makes a good point, and one we had made, but perhaps not with the force that Cahal made it.
There was a lot of creative poetic license here with the verbiage.
Well, he talks about being the worst team in the NHL and how every year someone's got to be the worst team. In fact, you usually look at a handful of teams that are just terrible in the NHL year to year. And he writes, being bad at hockey means you have no responsibilities. Well, one, you can't be bad at hockey and be insufferable at the same time, which, as it turns out, is the current mission statement of the Canucks franchise.
I do wonder.
Bottom line, like, when you're this bad on the ice, park the asshole. You can get away with a little more asshole when you're winning, but when you're this stinking bad, it just comes off as frustration, right? Like, it doesn't come off as sincere. It comes off as you're looking for other places to lance and litigate because you're not doing your part on the ice.
If Cahal Kelly has one regret about this story, it might be that he didn't file it today, where he could have had both guns blazing at the Leafs and the Canucks, because since he pressed publish on that, The Athletic published a story on the Maple Leafs earning money from the most unseemly sort of places, like charging you to have your kid wave a flag on the ice, $1,000.
Yeah, $96 selfies. You want a selfie with a Leaf? It'll cost you $96.
So, needless to say, the Leafs are catching a lot of flack for that. So he could have hit two franchises with one stone.
Well, they're not in great shakes now, are they? Either of them.
Nope. And again, and his statement works now for the Leafs too. When you're amongst the worst teams in the league, You can't be insufferable.
I can only think of the Montreal Canadiens fan, and of course there are legions of them from Tofino to St. John. St. John sitting back and going, nature is healing. The Leafs and Canucks are terrible. We're going to the playoffs with a rookie goaltender. We've won the cup twice in that spot.
And to top it all off, the Leafs were in San Jose last night, and there was an earthquake while they were in their hotel rooms, and they all thought they were going to die.
Other than that,
it's totally business as usual.
we will also talk to Jeff Merrick today. Talk to Jeff on a number of topics. The game tonight, the game last night, the game tonight. How can you avoid either of them? Caleb Mahotra, man, who is just continuing to make the case that not only is he top 5, not only is he a legitimate number 3, he may make McKenna and Stenberg sweat it out. Because it's completely possible that Caleb Mahotra and his Brantford OHL team could play very deep into this spring and have a whole lot of spotlight. He had 5 points last night in the game. He's got 9 points in 3 playoff games this series.
He's the center. He's the center.
The premium position. So we'll talk to Jeff about that. And then make the final segment about soccer. And let's just shout out Vic Rauter here. Announced today from TSN that the legendary sportscaster, the voice of curling, is retiring this weekend. He will call the men's gold medal game at the World Curling Championships and then pack it in. He has been a fixture on Canadian television in sports when it comes to curling, certainly foremost, but also, once upon a time in soccer, he was doing a lot of soccer for TSN back when there weren't MLS teams, when soccer did not have the commercial appetite that it has now in North America.
Calling Canadian games where Canada's best chance was to win 1-0 on a counter goal. But I have to say, when I started to do soccer play-by-play, I can't be British. You can't go on there, start faking an accent. Hey, everybody knows. It just seems natural. It sounds good when you've got a Brit doing play-by-play. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it should be only Brits doing play-by-play.
No, certainly not.
And so I began to think, how would I want it to sound? And all I kept coming up with is, I want it to sound a lot like Vic Rauter.
Vic Rauter, yeah.
Gravitas, where there was supposed to be gravitas. Mm-hmm. He's not screaming anyway. Mm-hmm. I love his call.
Turns of phrase and perhaps a word or two borrowed from the English, and I do mean
and that's
English
okay.
lexicon, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Cheeky little back heel.
Yeah, loved it. But he said it with a Canadian accent.
He said it as Vic Rauter.
And that's the thing, is he wasn't anybody but himself.
That's right. And you have to be yourself.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll say, as a longstanding Formula One fan, I used to watch the races with my dad and my grandpa. They were sometimes on live in the morning when they were over in Europe. But they were oftentimes on tape delay at 11 p.m. on the CBC or 10 p.m. You would get the Grand Prix from whatever far-flung locale Formula One was visiting that weekend. When TSN took over the Canadian rights, it was with a pre-race show. They did their own in-house pre-race show. They did not just take the British show. Now they take the Sky Sports pre-race show, which is 2 to 3 hours. But it was Vic Rauter. It was the late Jerry Donaldson, who was the one Canadian reporter, newspaperman, who was covering Formula One at all its different stops.
Was Jacques Villeneuve racing at that point?
I was going to say, they then repatriated Jerry into the studio when he stopped traveling, but they would go to the racetrack and have reporters on site, European reporters, usually a French reporter on site, bringing them the latest. And Vic would preside over that, not to mention they would beef it up at the Canadian Grand Prix, and they did it just in time for the rise of Jacques Villeneuve and eventually his world championship. And so that's where I found myself watching Vic the most.
Yeah,
was on the Sunday mornings and the Formula One show. They do a post race show too, Blake. I mean, it was just It was outstanding. It was mind-blowing because at the time, what we were accustomed to was just seeing a BBC feed hours after the race. No intro, no extra, just here's the race, and then that was that. And then here came Vic and Jerry and the TSN production.
So often, too, when I was doing Sports Centers, Briar coverage, whatever was leading into Sports Center. So for so often, right before I went on the air, the last voice I heard was Vic Crowder going, Sports Center's next.
Yeah. Anyways, all the best to Vic on his retirement. Let's get to our Bet365 bets of the day. Mr. Price, you were a winner last night, so you go first.
Yeah, I don't want to snake you. I forget what you said. I was going to go one way, and I'm
not going on the game.
You're not going on the game. Okay.
Not the hockey game, no.
I just, in all due respect, I don't think the Canucks are going to have it 2 nights in a row. I'm not going to go over under this time. I'm going to go spread. I think the Minnesota Wild can win this by 4 goals. I see a 5-1 final.
I learned that lesson yesterday, buddy. You sure you want to go down that road?
Wild minus 3.5 pays out a plus 230.
Only plus 230?
It's Tolopilo. He struggles.
Okay.
It's back-to-backs.
Well, it's the most anticipated college basketball game in a number of years, if not decades. Tomorrow's national semifinal from Indianapolis between Michigan and Arizona pits 2 of the best and most fun teams all season. Now, Duke's the number 1 overall seed, but the betting odds were on Michigan and Arizona. They were the 2 most selected teams in pools to win it all. They both have fantastic offensive players all across the court. Like, this could be a really fun. College games are only 40 minutes, not 48 minutes like the NBA. This game could easily get to the 80s or the 90s because these teams and these players are just that good. So I'm going over 157.5 on the NCAA Final Four game tomorrow from Indianapolis, Michigan, and Arizona. Our friends at Bet365, they know you're tired of waiting for the end of the game to get paid. You're ready to move on to that next puck drop. Well, that's why Bet365, an official partner of the NHL, has 3-goal early payout. If the team you're riding goes up 3 goals at any point in the game, they'll pay your bet out early. Hockey moves fast, and now with 3-goal early payout, there's one less thing you have to wait around for. Bet365. Download the app. Could have got paid out last night, right? At 6-2. We're at 5-2.
That's right.
Download the app. See what early payout's all about. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Rob Williams is next. So here's some price from the historic Wall Center.
Pizza gives you something that no sports team can give you.
It gives
Guarantee.
you pizza. It gives you pizza.
Oh, yeah, the sports teams rarely give you pizza. Well, I think in some cases they might.
Well, they sell pizza at
Yes.
really marked up prices, but they don't give you pizza.
But Pizza gives you a guarantee. No team starts any game saying, we guarantee you X. Pizza does. If your order is not delivered on time, it's free. You get an estimated time of delivery. If your food arrives after that time, your order is free. It's the Pizza guarantee. We've known about it for years, decades, in fact. And it stands as true today as it was back then. Legendary.
The OGs on delivery guarantees.
Even if that pizza has a volcano dipper right in the middle. Go check it out right now. Pizza.
Indeed. And we're joined now by the national sports editor of the Daily Hive and its Offside Sports vertical, Rob the Hockey Guy on Twitter. It is our pleasure to welcome Rob Williams back to the program. So, how was your week?
It's exactly 1 week old with 7 days of hell. How would you describe it?
Yeah, guys. I mean, it's been a really difficult week. I've had this pit in my stomach all week. We like reporting on the news. I'm not too keen on being in the news.
Mm-hmm.
I think I joked the few jokes I've had this week being like, now I know how PD feels. It's like, I don't want to give everybody a headline. I feel like if I say anything, it's going to be on awful
Right.
announcing. Awful announcing is going to like write another story. So, but seriously though, like it's been a really, really rough week. Wish there could be things done differently in a number of facets. And I think that it's been a hard week. Is kind of the best way I can say it. Trevor getting his media access taken away from him. I just feel awful about it. And as I pointed out on social media, like nobody loves covering the Canucks more than Trevor Beggs. Like even this season with all the losses, and they've been so bad at home. And I think Trevor's winning percentage at home is even worse than the Canucks. They somehow lose a little bit more when he's in the building as well. And you'd never know it from him. Like he's so keen to go to games, to cover games. He's covered the team in one way or another for over 10 years. It's his first year on the beat though with us. He's been a freelancer for us for years, but this is his first year being full-time. And I thought he's done a really good job this season at the rink. There have been times where, on some of those, awful games at Rogers Arena where not much is happening and the season's kind of lost, where you listen to Adam Foote and in press conferences afterwards, and you hear 2 or 3 reporters asking questions. Trevor's one of them, right? Like Trevor's always there, doing his best, and he has a passion for this job, and so that's what really makes me feel ill, because I know that he loves this job. By the way, he still has a job. He's still with us, access or not. But it's been a tough week because I didn't anticipate being covered in the Globe and Mail not once but twice in different stories. It's an uncomfortable situation. It's a situation that I've never been in before. Certainly Trevor's never been in before. That's I guess the best way to sum it up.
Let me just say this: spent an evening with Rob and Trevor in Penticton at the Young Stars as Trevor was getting ready to ramp up his first year on the beat, and I was mightily impressed, not just by Trevor in person. He's very charismatic, very personable, and as you mentioned, Rob has become a brave reporter on this beat. But the other thing is like, Trevor has a real job. Like he's got professional credentials in another field that a lot of people would have said like, wow, you can make a really good living in that line of work. So yes, his passion is absolutely palpable for covering this team. And as he tweeted this week, Canucks PR was kind enough to allow him to bring his mom to a practice last week, and that it was his family's passion for the Canucks that drove his passion for the Canucks and got him to the place.
Can I ask you a logistical question on this? We saw them say that it's a permanent revocation, and of course anything can change in the blink of an eye. They make up the rules, so they could change their opinion on that. But in your mind, when they say it's permanent, is that to Trevor Beggs or is that to the Daily Hive?
I've had no indication that it's beyond Trevor. I have not been told that it's permanent. I'll say that story, it seemed to reference a policy, so I didn't take that necessarily as a death sentence here or like a permanent ban. But I don't know what they're going to do. It's in terms of access with NHL teams, it's up to them. Like they have full control over who gets into the rink, who doesn't. So yeah, that's their decision. I mean, I will say this: like Trevor had covered the team for over 10 years without much access to the rink. Like we can cover the team without being at the rink. There's often a ton of great stuff that we cover that doesn't come from being at the rink and getting quotes. So
I can think of two pretty great guys that also wouldn't be given media credentials right now.
Like think about yourselves, guys. Like, I mean, like you guys are able to do great analysis on the team all the time. There's lots of people that are not at the rink that are able to do a whole heck of a lot by not being at the rink. I prefer if we were at the rink. I prefer to work with the team to resolve differences like this and move forward. It's not like it's not like this is like the 30th incident with Daily Hive. As Trevor alluded to, we have a pretty good, I would describe it as a very good working relationship with Canucks PR. We have not been at odds with them. I haven't had any yelling matches with them, never. Like, we've been, and I think in pretty good standing with Canucks PR over the years. And I've been at this 10 years. So, like I say, we've been, I think we've been on pretty good behavior for the most part when it comes to being at the rink. And professional.
As we've talked about all week, like your local media works as an extension of your PR arm and your publicity arm. And so there are a lot of franchises that understand the value of having as much media, especially local media, who speak to your audience and your potential ticket buying public in the arena as possible. The other thing I'll say is, as someone who is in the rink each and every day in my newspaper life, when I moved on over to radio to join this fella, it does change your perspective a little bit. Viewing the club and covering them from the outside in is sometimes I've found more beneficial than covering it from the inside out. And in part because you're viewing it through the fans' prism, right? Like they're not on the inside looking out, they're on the outside looking in. So yeah, you're quite right. There are some advantages to doing it on that side of things. Rob, we've talked all week about what the Canucks could have done differently about this whole episode. It's only fair that we ask you the same question.
Yeah. Like obviously when something like this happens, I think I've done a ton of reflecting after this. And when this article went up, it's not like we just threw it up willy-nilly. We thought we were careful putting it together. The problem that the team had with it was the framing of the story. I've done a lot of reflecting on what we could have done differently, spoken to a number of reporters that have more experience in this type of story than I do. This wasn't like a classic Daily Hive story, right? Like we don't typically cover wineries in Washington State and different U.S. court cases and that matter. Doing a lot of reflecting on what we could have done differently. I think that we could have framed it differently. Certainly, I looked at the article. I mean, PJ wrote on the same topic. So looking at kind of what he did on that matter, I respect PJ a ton, and so learning a lot from kind of the way he approached it. I feel terrible that I didn't find a way to frame it differently, that I didn't foresee this being a big problem and having so much trouble, for Trevor. So yeah, I feel awful about all that, and we're not perfect. I think this is something that clearly I've learned from, I'll learn from, and I'll be better for in the future.
There's a difference between making mistakes and making actionable mistakes, though, and you've been supported by most people in this business and most people in the public as well. What do you make of the outpouring of attention that this has grabbed, given that, the Globe and Mail just wrote a strongly worded letter on this. You guys have been supported here.
Yeah, certainly. Look, there was no malicious intent at all from our side. There was no intent to mislead people. And so I hope people don't confuse that in terms of the framing of the story and some of the statements that the statement that the Canucks have made. So I hope people don't confuse that with us, because I guess I always wonder what the perception is of us, because we do things a bit differently typically on Daily Hive. We focus on kind of the fun, quirky aspects, the seat beat and the like. But we take our jobs very seriously. Like I take the silly articles, I take those very seriously. I'm saying it with a laugh because it sounds ridiculous, but I truly mean it, and I know.
And it's your business model.
Your weekly hits on this show have proven just that, Rob. Over the years, we've come to learn that about you and Daily Hive.
Yeah. So, and look, the worst feeling in the world as a reporter is to be wrong on something, to get the facts wrong, or to in this case, framing the story in a way that maybe should have been framed otherwise. But yeah, the outpouring of support has been amazing for Trevor, and I think well deserved. He's such a likable guy. He's the type of guy that you meet Trevor, you like him immediately.
Yep.
He's very charismatic. Very confident. He always says, I was joking with him the other day. He says man all the time. It's kind of I don't know where I've noticed.
I've noticed listening to his podcast. Yeah.
But when I talk to him, I end up saying man back, like it's contagious. And then I'm like, so I've been catching myself being like, why you're getting me saying man? I never say man. Why am I doing this? So, the outpouring of support has been nice. I think that obviously this story drew attention, for various reasons, and it feels like we're kind of caught up in it. But I'll speak for myself personally. I know Trevor's spoken to a ton of people personally as well. So have I. I've had different people reach out, and it's very meaningful when you get people that are veterans of the industry reaching out and just sort of checking in, seeing how you're doing, and that sort of thing.
Well, let me just say one thing, following up on his last question. Just because something is actionable doesn't mean it's defamatory. And Blake and I know some media lawyers around town who, if given the set of facts and circumstances around this case, could probably make a pretty good counter argument to what was argued to you. I do got to ask, you guys took the story down and decided not to republish. Why is that?
Yeah, I guess the concerns that the Canucks raised in an email. It was a decision made by the company to take the story down. I don't think it was the hill we wanted to die on for this story. So So yeah, I mean, it was a decision made by the company to take it down. So that was the reason. I know. Yeah.
Well, and I can understand that, Rob, because I've gotten a letter before, and staring down the barrel of having to go through a lengthy and expensive legal matter with a billionaire can be quite intimidating.
And that's the purpose of that letter.
He has a whole lot more resources than you do. And so this is why you typically only see very big media companies who are pretty well heeled, who are able to fight these things.
And even then, we've seen them to say it's not worth the fight.
Like, when I think of the difference in the stomach from my early days in newspapers to my final day in newspapers in terms of what they were willing to fight, it was quite a dramatic turn. I asked this of Patrick because he wrote on it too for the Province and Sun, but the chill effect here, Rob, do you guys feel chilled in covering this team after this episode?
Not. Look, it's jarring, right? I think if we were to run into a story like this again, I don't think this means that we don't write the story. I think this means that we dot our I's and cross our T's maybe 5 different times with 10 different people in the room, like just really making sure of these things. This has been an awful experience. It's been really terrible. I hate that we were put in a position where we took down an article. It's not a good feeling. But I've got a lot of pride in what we do. I'm going to continue to have a lot of pride in what we do. And like I say, I'm going to learn from it going forward. And this was something I didn't foresee. I didn't foresee this being a problem. And I think that with everything like this, you learn lessons from, and you're better for it going forward.
Yeah, and go ahead.
In their heart of hearts, I know what my answer is. Do you think they regret now how they've handled it since, like given the blow, or do you think they just don't care?
Guys, I don't want to get into their heads and tell you what they're feeling.
Blake,
I'll let what everyone else has said this week speak for itself, and I think that people have, I think it's clear what people have said about it. But it's up to them to make that determination.
Yeah, I would bet there were a lot of people who knew this was a bad idea from the jump.
Yeah,
just didn't have the decision-making authority to make.
Yeah, it's probably
call.
Split in the building, but I still think there's probably people in that building that'd be like, I don't care. I don't care what those guys think.
Well, again, if this team is marching to the playoffs, I do wonder, and not in a season ticket renewal campaign coming off maybe the worst season in franchise history, I do wonder whether it would have been handled differently on their side of things. You're a stand-up guy, Rob Williams, for coming on the show and answering these questions. We had mentioned to the audience, hey, we've invited Rob on the show early this week. He's usually a Wednesday or Thursday guy, so I was wondering earlier in the week whether we'd hear from you. So I very much appreciate you coming on and clarifying it as much as possible. The other thing I'll say, Rob is one of our favorite guests because on top of just everything that we discuss and all the things that he has to say and his take on the Canucks and the Vancouver sports scene, he's probably our most self-produced guest. He sends Blake and I a note every week about, here's what we written in the Daily Hive. Here's what we coming up. If you're interested in this, let's talk about that. I didn't get an email this week. I think he knew where this conversation
and it's too bad because the Canucks are playing Quinn Hughes tonight. Like it's the revenge
and
game.
And they won 8-6, Rob, against the best team in the league.
This would normally be like a massively thick file for you on a normal hit, but alas, there was other week
Guys,
to be.
Hopefully next week we can talk about the the candidates for captain that were brought up during the intermission on the Sportsnet broadcast.
Oh,
Philip
boy.
Hronek, Marcus Pettersson, and TBD.
And
Those were the
TBD.
3.
Yeah. Put that in the email next week, Rob Williams.
Yes.
Yeah, you bet.
Thanks for this, buddy. I promise next week will be better.
They will.
Thanks, guys.
Sakaris Price, Wall Center. This is historic.
As is Toyota.
Indeed.
And your car will be historic too.
Especially with the electric and the hybrid vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
They are the OGs, the godfathers in this space.
And you'll still see those OG electrics and hybrids driving around right now.
You still see them.
Because they're Toyotas.
Mm-hmm. They last forever.
So, it's like my favorite saying about planting orchards.
Mm-hmm.
Plant your orchard. Get your Toyota immediately and have it for, really as long as you want it to be in your family. Which is probably going to be a long time with the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid because it is so fun to drive. A little tap on the accelerator, zip, off you go. Passing by all those gas stations. It'll be weeks before you need to fill up. 72 kilometers of range every time you wake up. Go check it out, shoptoyota.ca. Red Tag Day deals on through May.
And an NHL regular season game is gripping when it's an 8:30 p.m. puck drop in the East and people in that time zone are hanging around to watch the end as they did last night. For the Canucks and Colorado Avalanche, 8-6 your final. Let's bring in Jeff Merrick, the host of The Sheet, weekdays here on the Nation Network. Oh, my God, did we need that? Did we need that?
What an awesome, that was a gift. That was a little cookie for everybody. Like every now and then, like you don't want it every night, but like pepper and parsley in the soup. Like it just makes the season say a little better. That one. And the Avs are wearing their Nords jersey. What?
Pepper and parsley in the soup. That was the soup. We need soup like that.
Yeah,
we're a long way from pepper and parsley.
We wanted noodles and chicken.
Shaved Parmesan, sir. No.
Yeah, we had the spice. We just didn't have the contents.
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse your friend from the East who just sat there and enjoyed all of that and was wishing that the because I saw the Nords jerseys and I'm like, oh, Vancouver were wearing their AD sweaters. And like, is that Petri Skriko there? Like, who is that coming down the way? Yeah,
imagine yellow skate jerseys or white skate jerseys versus the Nordiques.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying watching this last night. But what a fun game. Like that was every now and then you just want a little bit of fun. And that was just like, that was the throwback to the late 80s. Loved it.
And it also shuts up our barn burner buddies on the Nation Network who are calling them an unethical tank. They just beat the top team in the league.
No, guys.
Okay?
Drummed them. Just drummed them. Just drummed the Avalanche in their own barn too. Let's not forget here, folks. That's a road game. Like there are games you're like, are we going to have it tonight? I don't know. We're on the road. Like there's the old saying, Gordon Selleck used to always say when he ran the Maple Leafs, if you're going to suck on the road. Just don't suck in front of your own fans here. Suck on the road.
The goaltending for the Avs was dreadful, obviously. And yet within that, there were some really nice goals by the Vancouver Canucks. Brock Boeser found his shot last night.
Sure did.
That was his second was absolutely wired. It sort of changes...
beautiful goal, like Brock Star goal, like young Brock Boeser goal.
So it's in there somewhere, and he gets to 21 on the year, and it might change people's outlook about what Brock Boeser can give in the next few years.
Look, he can still shoot a puck, obviously. But I thought the best one was kind of the easiest one for him to tap in on that great Tom Willander Russ, and that great rush. I mean, and some great work by Marco Rossi on that play too. Look, I was always told you can't blow pucks past netminders, and generally you can't. But that shot that you're talking about, like he blew it past the goalie.
Yeah.
Like that was one where it's just flat out. My shot is faster than you can move. Your shoulder can't move that quickly. You can't unbend your knees quicker than I can shoot it over your shoulder. I was always told you can't do that in the NHL, and that's the one thing. There's always. When fans get down on players, and I'll just sort of, personalize this for, the market that I'm closest to, and that's Toronto. Maple Leafs fans will always pick on one defenseman. This goes back to Larry Murphy and Aki Berg and Jake Gardner and Corey Cross and et cetera. There's always one defenseman. that the Maple Leafs fans will pick on, and like this defenseman, now it's Morgan Riley, will become sort of emblematic of everything that's wrong with the team. And every now and then they would get on Brian McCabe. But what McCabe always had was the shot that could get them back, right? And that's kind of how I look at Brock Boeser. Even if fans want to get on him or he's down, although he still has the shot. And there's still value in that. When you can shoot like Brock Boeser can, there's still a lot of value in that. Absolutely. It was fun to watch him last night.
Yeah, and the kids also contributed. You know, there was some great. Bluger had 2, Boeser had 2. That's great because those guys are probably going to be around next year. But Öhgren was great. And Willander's
awesome.
move, he shows again. Like I've been higher on Willander's offense than most people in this market. I think he's going to put up some offense, and that was a fabulous play that he makes.
Again, against the Colorado Avalanche. To me, every the one guy that popped for me, I know the Boeser hat trick and Bluger with the pair as well, but the guy that popped for me was Liam Öhgren.
Mm.
Shift after shift after shift, whether it ultimately ended up somewhere, he was doing something and winning a battle and winning a race and creating a play. Like, to me, that was one of those games that you circle at the end of the year and say, I know it's empty calorie time for the team, but look what's coming. Right? Because you're either selling wins or you're selling hope. You look at Liam Öhgren play, and specifically look at Liam Öhgren play last night, you're selling a lot of hope with that guy. I thought he was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed his game last night.
Yeah, that toolkit is pretty impressive. Looking forward to seeing how that gets refined here in the National Hockey League. And we've seen Go ahead.
I was just saying, how about Max Sassa with the old school slap shot coming down the side on a night where the Nords jerseys are there, and we're looking at like a young Ricky Vive coming down the wing and just blasting it? We never see that anymore in the NHL. Small, tiny little thing in the game that I really enjoyed.
The whole game last night is what we don't see anymore. First of all, you say Rick Vive and the old school slap shot. That was a 1980 score, 8-6. Like, you would see a lot of those in the Nords jersey, the way it was played. Now, I mean, Canucks did blow a 4-goal lead in this game.
Yeah, keep it fun. Keep it interesting.
No.
There are some coaching points within.
Here comes the narc. Here comes the narc.
Well,
thanks, Maddie. Put it out. Quick flush it.
I want to say,
quick flush it.
I want to say Blake even tweeted it. This thing ain't over yet. This is the Canucks, and
can we not enjoy something, please? Don't. Oh no, don't. Don't turn into me nitpicking about everything. Enjoy the game. It was fun. You let them creep back into it. Okay, whatever, fine. 8-6 final, everybody. They went to bed happy last night.
That's fair. That is true. Now, all of that said, I think if Canucks fans had their druthers, they would have taken the big performance tonight in Minnesota against the former team captain, Mr. Hughes. I sure hope there's something left in the tank for tonight against the Minnesota Wild in the first meeting against Quinn Hughes since the big trade in December.
Like, this is the one where you're right too, and this is it's kind of games like this where you sort of find out who's got it and who understands the moment, right? There are some players that'll just shrug it off and it's just another game, but for fans, you know, this one's a big one. Like, you cannot let Quinn Hughes dominate this game. You just can't. Like, this has to be every shift, everybody paying attention, all the details, all of it. Because, like, this one's big. This one's big to your fan base. You can't just get out there and skate as if it's just, a Thursday night game in early April when your team's long out of contention. This one there has to be more spice in the chili here for Vancouver Canucks fans here. And I think this is going to go not a long way, but I think this is going to be a sort of telling game. Like, saw some great performances last night. That one's against the Avs, spinning right back. I know Minnesota's an outstanding hockey team. I get it. I'm not saying any of this is going to be easy, but no one can mail this one in. No one can say, you know what, we beat the Avs. Good enough.
Well, there's a couple guys that left something on the table last night, though, too. Like Rossi and Pettersson are theoretically their two biggest point producers, and neither one of them was terribly noticeable last night. They both combined on one power play goal, but there's two guys who could step it up in tonight's game. And Rossi, of course, a part of the trade. Öhgren will be a little bit hard pressed to have anything left in the tank after a fabulous night, but he and Buium should be motivated as well. So, I think the pressure's on the Wild. I mean, the Canucks are the Canucks. No one's going to be changing their attitude about the Canucks based on what they see here tonight. They're 32nd in the league. I think the pressure's on Quinn Hughes.
It is, absolutely, and it is on the Minnesota. Like, everything is lined up for Minnesota to win this game. Right? Every single reason that exists, it's right there for the Minnesota Wild to win this game. And I know we don't like to put too much on Pyrrhic victories, but a win tonight is more than just a Pyrrhic victory for the Vancouver Canucks. This is, I'm not huge on big, it's a statement game. I don't want to call it a statement game, but there is an element of that to this because it's the first time facing off against your former captain.
There is no statement games when you're 32nd in the league. You're a long way from earning a statement game.
There's moments that you can show that you haven't prematurely checked out, right? And this is one of those games.
Wild can clinch a playoff spot.
You'll be able to tell. You'll be able to tell who's checked out by watching this game tonight, because this one should be bigger than if it's just like, with all due respect to the Columbus Blue Jackets, Columbus on a Thursday night.
And it's also one of those games down the stretch that actually has some teeth for the opposition. Like, you're saying these are low-fat games here down the stretch, and for the most part, that's true. Except the opposition often does have something to play for. The Wild want to clinch a playoff spot right now. They've got an outside chance of catching Dallas for home ice advantage. So outside, they got a game in hand. They win this one, it's 4 points back. Unlikely, but it's a chance. So they want to keep that alive as well. So, that's been the case for much of this stretch here, Jeff, is that they're playing teams now that are in the mix and are jockeying for position. They want those points. So for the Canucks, they're great. It's a great testing ground, proving ground for these young players, because the other teams actually do want to win.
Mm-hmm. They do. Listen, I think it's going to be a fascinating game. I think this is the one that, well, of course, if you're a Vancouver Canucks fan, you've circled at the beginning of the week, like, we cannot miss this one. If we're going to miss one game this week, it ain't going to be this one. And I think for Minnesota as well, just because as well, you want to, all those other, everything we're saying about the Vancouver Canucks and statement they have against the Minnesota Wild and Quinn Hughes tonight, I'm with you guys in the fact that, Quinn Hughes wasn't the only player in this trade. Right? Like, there's a collection of players here that Minnesota said, yeah, thanks, no longer wanted on the voyage. Let's see what kind of bird they have under the saddle.
I want to, can we move on for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
I know we have given you your flowers on this in the past, but I just want to continue doing so because the call just looks better week to week, Jeff Merrick. It was early in the season. And if you looked at draft rankings, you would see Caleb Mahotra, in the 20s, 25, 21, somewhere in that range, last third of the first round. You said Caleb Mahotra will be a top 5 pick when it's all said and done. Here he is going through center ice. Look at a little draw pass here. Boop. As Brantford not only scores, but takes a 3-0 stranglehold lead in their OHL playoff series against Sudbury. He had a 5-point game last night. He has 9 points in 3 playoff games, Manny's son does. And he doesn't turn 18 until June. I told the story yesterday, but I met an audience member out here yesterday. Was doing some painting work here at the hotel, and he goes, Matty, I typically wouldn't be for a reach at number 3, but if you want to call Caleb Mahotra a reach at number 3, I'm all for it because of the kids.
He's not a reach. He's not a reach at 3. Not at all. Like, look, the thing that I've been pointing out lately about Caleb Mahotra is I feel like I'm sort of acting as, as sort of de facto agent here, but all I'm doing is calling balls and strikes, and the kid's fantastic. How do I phrase this? Jetlachenko. Jetlachenko's a really good player, right? First round pick, Philadelphia Flyers, almost made the team. Good player. Yep. He is Caleb Malhotra's winger, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Malhotra is not Lachenko's winger. Lachenko is Malhotra's winger.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team that's full of high-end first-rounders, Jake O'Brien, Merrick Van Acker, Adam Juracek. Like, you look at that Bulldogs power play, and if you take away the World Juniors, because they had, I think they were the team that sent the most players to the World Juniors of any team, either one or number two, and you take away the very last game of the schedule where none of the big guys played, the power play was 46%. 46% on the season, and a huge part of that is Caleb Mahotra. And whether it's 5-on-5, whether it's power play, like, it doesn't matter. Like, we keep saying, oh, this is the draft, you're not going to get a Tynan Lawrence. Caleb Mahotra is the best center in this draft going away. Every time, and the playoffs, again, when the puck gets heavier and the tighter checking, all of it, it's all true at every single level. This guy just keeps on getting better and better. I don't think it's a reach at all for 3. I wouldn't even think if it's a reach for 2.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. That was the follow-up. Can he knock somebody off the pedestal?
What are the real, like, again, like, I'll just look to positional bias as well. Like, the two most, I mean, the goalie's obviously the most important player on your team, but, like, the two most important positions are center and defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was asking people last week what Gavin McKenna and Keaton Verhoff have at stake in the NCAA tournament. But the fact of the matter is, you know, even if you win the Natty, you're playing 4 games in the NCAA tournament. Like, Brantford could be playing an incredible number of games from this point forward. So, like, the train could go on here for another couple of months, Jeff, in terms of the helium and the draft stock, as more and more people watch him, and as fewer and fewer of his contemporaries are actually playing hockey games into May, right?
Do you know how valuable that is? Has anybody done an empirical study into how valuable, especially for a guy draft eligible, even draft +1? Like, if you get an extra 18 games of playoffs over the average guy who plays one playoff series, like, at that age, playing uber competitive, like, that has to be, like, that's not an insignificant amount of games here if you go to the final and even play in the Mem Cup.
Yeah. Are you talking about, like, how much value you put on that in the draft, or how good that is for a player's development?
That's right.
It's a great question. I think it does, especially if the player doesn't fade. Like, the thing about Caleb Mahotra, and again, like, I'll go back to Matty's point. Like, we have 3 games into a series here between Brantford and Sudbury. You know, it could close out here, and it probably will. The Bulldogs are one of the favorite teams. Kitchener is excellent. Barrie is excellent. There's some really good teams here that are still going to be heard from. But, you know, you look at the Bulldogs and you say to yourself, okay, that is a team that you can realistically see getting to the Memorial Cup, and there will be some wobbles along the way. But when you look at the traveling all-star team and traveling first rounders they should get there. I don't want to say easily, because no one goes backwards into the Memorial Cup. But they have everything needed to get there. And as long as Malhotra doesn't fade throughout, like we saw, I remember with, and again, it was a shoulder injury, but maybe the basic example of this was Nolan Patrick with the Wheat Kings, where he was like the best player in the playoffs and then had like nothing left for the Memorial Cup. That one would have been in Red Deer, and just had nothing left. Now, he was dinged up. He put his body through a million things. I know there's a shoulder issue for him as well. But as long as Malhotra doesn't fade and continues to play at this level all through the OHL playoffs and into the Memorial Cup, I think it adds value. You know, I think I'm even too scared to say this, but could he go first?
Well, the center ice thing is interesting. I mean, if he has an historic sort of playoff round, I mean, it would be interesting to see. But the center ice part of it is real.
He's a center. And you look at him and you go, he's a first-line center in the NHL. Look at Keaton Verhoff. He's a first-pairing defender in the NHL.
Well, and the other thing is I've heard from a couple of people that McKenna can be a little bit aloof, that, you know, he isn't Mr. Personality. He's got a little bit of cockiness to him, that, you know, maybe he's not the most popular teammate. I don't know Caleb I don't know the first thing about his personality, but if he interviews like his dad, If he interviews
They
like
lo-
his
yeah, he
dad,
does.
that is going to resonate with some NHL decision makers.
Yeah, and Keaton Verhoff as well. I had Keaton on the sheet yesterday, and you would swear this guy's like 25 years old, and personable and charming. And everybody that I talk to keeps saying the same thing. You know, I have ex-coaches saying this guy's going to be a captain in the NHL. This guy's going to play on your first unit power play. Verhoff is another one here. When you talk about like great personalities as well, really comfortable, charming, like nice, like really good person and outgoing too. Verhoff's in that category as well.
I spoke to a
such a nice player.
I spoke to a Penn State dad who made a comment about how Gavin McKenna was learning a few things.
Yeah.
In the middle part of the season.
Right.
And it struck me as sort of like, oh, that sounded like almost like a shot. Like the kid maybe had strutted in thinking it was going to be a little bit easier.
Yeah. I think.
And eventually it did get a little bit easier.
Yeah,
but
it did.
But middle part of the year, it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
this was a weird year for Gavin. I mean, I would think we all thought, okay, he's going to step in, he's going to play first line and power play and all of that. And all of a sudden he's down the lineup. And he's on the power play, and it's not happening. Now he finally, I don't know whether like Penn State had to break him or something, but he did turn it around. But even like you look, I just mentioned Keaton Verhoff a second ago. Like early in the season, all we're seeing from Keaton Verhoff in North Dakota is like highlight plays, big points, all these things. And now we're watching all of a sudden like a Keaton Verhoff that's playing like he's already in the NHL. The game is mature. He's not forcing things just because he can. He's not just looking for the big highlight play. Like all throughout like this college season, he's really matured his game. I don't know, man. Like I always look at power positions in the draft, and power positions high, and center and defense are always 1-2 for me. And I do have a positional default with defenders. I tend to lean that way more than up front. I think it's more difficult to find a legit first pairing defenseman than someone to play on your top line. Caleb Mahotra, though, just the whole package.
Yeah.
That Mahotra brings on, off the ice, second gen guy. He's someone that teams will be like proud to wear. You know, there's some guys who are just like, I'm really proud that this guy's on my team.
Yeah.
That's Mahotra. That's Caleb Mahotra.
That's going to be interesting. Who's going to be making that announcement at the dais for the Vancouver Canucks? Your old buddy at Sportsnet there, Nick Kyprios. The first to really put like more definitive words to it. I think people have obviously predicted this sort of thing, but actual reporting on it, Nick probably was the first to do that, saying that it sounds like Patrick Allvin believes he's gone. What do you make of all that?
If you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. First of all, we know who makes the decisions. I think if anything, if Allvin walks the plank and he's the only one, then that's just sacrificial lamb territory. And we know who ultimately makes all the major decisions here for the Vancouver Canucks. If you're going to get rid of one, I think you have to get rid of all. If you're Vancouver, I don't think that just throw one overboard. Our work is done here. No, that one doesn't work. That one doesn't work for me. Not at all. I don't know about you guys, but that
100% with you. I'm 100% with you.
That wouldn't work for me.
There is a school of thought here that if it is just Allvin, Ryan Johnson would elevate from the AHL's Abbotsford Canucks, who's been in the Canucks management for a number of years, and that he would become the new sort of mentee.
How much power would how much would he have though?
Not a whole lot. It would be GM and title, I think, especially in the early going.
More AGM duties, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyways,
if you know what, if you're Vancouver, if you're gonna do it, just do it. If you're gonna do it, just do it. Like both. And unfair to Patrick Allvin, because I think ultimately he's going to be responsible for a lot of the decisions that were made above him. Welcome to business. That happens all the time. Welcome. That's nothing new, and that's nothing unique to hockey. But it doesn't make it fair. And I hate the word fair. I tell my kids, take that word out of your vocabulary. There's no such thing. But it's not.
You've said that before. Yeah. We don't have an Easter egg this week. I apologize. We're recording this a little
we'll just say that I
earlier
nailed
than
it.
Yeah, so
Assume
Jim
that I
will
nailed
give
it.
credit. Mike, I know you're keeping a tabulation in there. Give him another victory.
Can I have one follow-up? Because you're talking about Ryan Johnson being promoted. If they fire Adam Foote, then maybe it's Manny being promoted. How messy is it if there's two Malhotras in the organization?
Boy, I'm not a. First of all, I don't love that. If there's any family that's mature enough to be able to handle it, it is the Malhotras. I just don't like it.
The appearance of it isn't great.
I just don't like it on the it's more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah.
Because the first time he gets preference over somebody else on a power play, on a whatever, it just invites awful conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So no.
Canucks have to see if they end up
the
with
Canucks sort of have that policy now with the Foots. Like at one point, one of Adam's sons was available on waivers, and the Canucks just said, no, absolutely not.
Yeah,
we're not introducing that dynamic. To their credit. They were completely upfront about it. Okay, no Easter egg.
Yes.
But I have something to I have something to put in your pipe, and it is not Vancouver Canucks related. It's related to the franchise that you're closest to there. So Keith Pelly, MLSE chairman, comes out, fires Brad Treliving, holds his press conference the other day, and the big
Where's Brad Treliving from, by the way?
Penticton, British Columbia, a native son, as a matter of fact.
Just throw that one in there for some spice for you guys.
I don't think so.
Do you want to hear a great Brad Treliving story?
No, not at all.
So as you know, Brad is unfailingly nice, right? Like if you don't get along with Brad Treliving, who can you get exactly just the nicest man? If you don't get along with Brad
Treliving, you don't get along with Oxygen. Right. I know.
So
I'm with you.
When he gets canned by the Flames, because Brad used to come and do our show from Yellow Dog or Neighborhood. There are two brewing sponsors. They each have a restaurant in downtown Penticton. So he used to come early in the morning too, like to record with us from Neighborhood and the patio when we were there for young stars. Not to mention doing our show, back in the radio days via remote. So, Blake and I are talking, and I said, we should send him a note and just say regrets. So Blake... Yeah. So Blake sends him a note saying, Brad, regrets, thanks for everything. And he replies, I'll be in Penticton by sundown.
Yeah.
And
if I'm still around in the fall, I'll pour you guys drinks while you do your show.
So when he got removed this week, I was like, do you think he can make Penticton by sundown?
He can make it?
Little tougher from draw.
It's still one of Brian Burke's favorite stories to tell, the training camp where, God bless him, where Brad fought Gino Ojic. And it really didn't go well for Brad Treliving, but he was a total gamer who wanted to get noticed. And he went right at Gino, and it didn't work out very well for Brad.
Yeah.
But it's full marks for trying.
Okay, so this is not about Treliving, but
okay.
So Pelly holds this presser, and the big takeaway for you all in the Toronto media is data-driven. And I'm listening to Kiprios' show yesterday, and I believe Elliot was on, and they were all talking about, why would he say data-driven? Because for heaven's sakes, Kyle Dubas was here, and he was the most data-driven guy.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody whispered to me yesterday, data-driven was a code word trial balloon to see how the market feels about Mike Gillis over Doug Armstrong. Because if you listen to Pelly's presser, it does not match up with Doug Armstrong. It sounds like he's talking about Gillis.
I think, first of all, that was one of the first names that popped into my head when this happened. Because what the Maple Leafs need at that level, well, they also need a president, and Mike can do both, is they need a planner more than anything else. They need someone who has worked at a number of different levels, both team side, player side, agent side, all of it. Someone with that kind of experience and someone that has respect in the industry in a number of different places. And what they also need is they need someone who is a visionary, and they need someone, and we always go back to the sleep studies and how they used Vancouver Canucks use rest as a weapon and sleep as a weapon, and then everyone laughed at the Vancouver Canucks, and it does it. They need someone that's willing to try new things and not just be safe. The thing that I've always maintained about Maple Leafs and their management is they have always looked for tactical solutions to strategic problems. They never, it's like the analogy that I always use is like, oh, this, what are we going to do about all this crime? I know, we'll build more jails. Okay, that's a great tactical solution. But what's the strategic problem? You're not addressing the strategic problem.
That's very well put.
Still haven't addressed the strategic issues, and that has been the failing of manager after manager after manager.
Such a great point. When I was there, Jeff, and they, had real trouble drafting and developing players, the solution every year was to go and sign a 30-something free agent who had ties to the city of Toronto. And some of them worked out, like Gary Roberts, but Nieuwendyk. It was just this litany of guys who, had name brand value, but weren't the players they used to be.
Let me share. And again, this is this. You want a corporate story? You want a corporate Maple Leaf story? Here's your corporate Maple Leaf, why all that used to happen. And this goes right back to corporate structure. Now, this is when, I think the era that you're referring to is when the Ontario Teachers' Pension owned the Maple Leafs. So every year, I've got this confirmed by a couple of different places, every year, the Maple Leafs would do exactly what you were saying. And it would be a litany, revolving door of veterans. Here comes McGillney, here comes Roberts, like all the hot button names. So what would happen is, John Ferguson, who was a general manager, who got just crushed by Toronto media. What Ferguson was always asked to do was to submit two budgets. One that accounted for playoff revenue, and one which was the preferred budget, which accounted for a rebuild. And the Ontario Teachers' Pension, who obviously were only interested in their ROI, the return on investment, would always say, we'll take the one that accounts for 5 to 7% ROI. That's the playoff one, which gave Richard Petty cover to go out and say, John submitted the budget and the board approved it. And what, as media, we failed to ask is, how many budgets were you asked to submit?
Right.
Because he was asked to submit two.
I will say this. There are a lot of people in this province and Canucks fans who would be quite interested to see what Gillis 2.0 does, because needless to say, it was a smashing. It didn't win a cup, one game away, but it was a smashing success here in Vancouver. We now got to run. Thank you for the time. You have a great Easter weekend.
Thanks, boys.
We'll catch up next
week.
Thank you.
Talk in 7 days, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. Secure some price from the historic Wall Center in the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio, built by Arbor Lee. Tickets secured, hotel solved. Make the Wall Center your downtown headquarters for every big game, concert, rivalry night. See what's happening at wallcenter.com. Before we get going here, I want to shout out to some listeners who are audience members who are visiting here from Calgary. We saw them in the lower lobby level here of the North Tower of the Wall Center taking photos outside of our studio, so we invited them in. So shout out to little Noah and Avea, and to Pam, Chris, and Jamie for stopping by and saying hello and supporting Canucks fans in Calgary.
A couple of hockey players in the making there.
Absolutely.
Draft day 2039, maybe.
We'll see. Maybe he's the next Landon DuPont. Came out of Calgary minor hockey. And as we always say, if you're been watching or listening to the show for years and you find yourself here at the Wall Center, come down, wave hello here in our window of the lower lobby North Tower, and we'll come by if we can. We'll stop and say hello. Sometimes we're in mid-interview, and that can be a few minutes. But anyways, soccer news, where the Canadian Premier League season starts this weekend across 8 fronts, including Willoughby Park in Langley, where Vancouver FC hosts the Halifax Wanderers coached by ex-Whitecaps boss Vanni Sartini.
No, he's back.
I was texting with him this week. I think he's very excited to be back on this coast and say hello to some friends. I think he's also probably hopeful of getting a victory here to start the season in front of, I'm sure, what will be many friends. We mentioned this when Vanni picked up and moved to Halifax in December, but Vanni and Barbara, believe it or not, made themselves some friends here in town, have quite the constituency. Newcomer Lise Mousset for Vancouver FC. He's a former striker in the Premiership. He played for Bournemouth and Sheffield United, so he's one of the big off-season additions
and not
for
like
VFC.
10 games in the Premier League.
Years in the Premier. And I'm most interested in this because I do think it would be an excellent rule change across all of soccer. The CPL has adopted the new daylight offside rule. The proponent here is Arsene Wenger, the former manager in the Premier League. They are test driving this for the FIFA rule book. You must have clear separation between the attacking player and the defending player when the ball is played. So no more of this, oh, he was offside by a shirt sleeve or an extended elbow or these other nitpicky interpretations of the rule that deprives fans of goals and excitement. I mean, this is a no-brainer.
You say that, Matt, but
for me.
But honestly, like it's a centimeter somewhere. Like, you know, like the line is the line.
No, but Blake, if there is clear daylight, there is clear daylight, right?
But it can be a centimeter of daylight, and therefore, so it's a centimeter is a centimeter.
But at least there's some separation. Like, it drives me crazy that we're going to call a guy offside because his left elbow happened to be extended a little past the defender. At least now he's going to have to be clearly past the defender.
Yeah, but that centimeter is still that centimeter. It's purely perception. It's a better conceptual way of doing it, probably.
No.
But the centimeter is the centimeter, Matt. It doesn't matter.
They've snowed you, Blake.
No, they haven't
Yes,
snowed me.
they have you. You've been around that soccer inside crowd, and so now you see it from the inside, and you don't see it from the fan point of view.
That's what I'm saying. It's a better perception. I can hear that, but it's objectively just true. The centimeter of difference is the centimeter, regardless of if you're talking about the distance or a shirt.
So for me, and I know footy aficionados will go crazy when I say this, but I would get rid of the offside rule altogether. I think it's dreadful. I think it deprives fans of goals and excitement. And every time I pitch this to a soccer person, they say, oh, no. If you were to do that, you would have a forward way down the pitch cherry picking and you'd see a lot of long balls. And I said, well, presumably you will have a defender marking that forward way down the pitch cherry picking. Yeah. So what does that do? Well, it creates fewer bodies and more space in and around the box.
Well, they would argue, no, that if you've got the cherry pickers and people marking down the field, then you've spread people out and you don't have space to attack.
No, that creates space to
attack. You want space in behind defenders is the point. So through balls you can run onto and that sort of thing. Right?
Anyways.
But again, the line is the line. Unless your argument is no offside, which you just brought up, that's fine. But you have to draw a line somewhere.
What you've talked about in the past, no offside at a given point on the pitch.
Yeah, to me, if the passer is below the 18-yard box, below the top of the box, like what are we looking for at that point anyway? Like everybody's in play. Like, that I could understand.
Right, and the other thing is the way they leverage the rule, Blake. They'll run forward to make a guy offside. Anyways. And how about this? This is fun. Looking forward to this. You know, I'd been to Lolo and the shipyards in North Vancouver a couple of times, but back in the fall, October, found myself there a whole lot with Mike, had some family in town staying down there for the Blue Jays World Series run, so spent a lot of time there.
It's a great space.
Did not realize the totality of that space and just how awesome it is. North Vancouver's shipyards will be Canada Soccer House, Uber Eats Canada Soccer House for the World Cup. You're familiar with Canada House at the Olympics. big party area. Uber Eats Canada Soccer House will be free to the public. There will be fan programming, athlete meet and greets, giveaways, the live entertainment, and needless to say, a lively match day atmosphere for all the fans who will gather at the shipyards. Food and beverage offerings, social gathering spaces, retail pop-ups. You're going to have official merchandise there, sponsors activations, interactive games, prizes, surprises. All of this is going to be designed for fans. So if you can't make it to the stadium, you're going to want to make it to the shipyards and the Uber Eats Canada Soccer House, which sounds like it's going to be a blast.
And for those that aren't on the North Shore, it's obviously great for those of us that are, but those that aren't, it's right on the other side of the C-Bus.
That's it.
So
you
that
get on
part
the
is
C-Bus, easy peasy.
And the other thing is that in case it is a January, let's hope it isn't, much of it is covered. Like that's probably what attracted them to this space is there is a massive covered area. I'm going to guess the watch party, the screen is going to be under that cover so that you could watch the match undercover, even if it is inclement weather. So it's a good spot. It'll be fun.
8 minutes C-Bus, Mike, is that correct?
11 minutes.
11 minutes.
Yeah.
You say January. Mike and I got off that C-Bus a couple of times in October to walk over to our establishment to watch the Blue Jays game, and could have paddled over.
Yes.
Remember that, Mike?
October's October, yeah.
It was a wet one.
Yeah. There was one Blue Jays game that went off. And literally, the shipyards were empty because I'm not sure I've seen it rain that hard.
The C-Bus can come bring you closer.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, it's June. It should be lovely. January.
We'll see.
Do not speak that into existence. And after 12 games in 11 weeks, remember they played that Friday-Sunday doubleheader in Vegas and San Diego a few weeks back. The Vancouver Warriors had their bye week, and it's back to work for the stretch drive of the NLL season. Vancouver at Buffalo tomorrow night, the foe that knocked them from the playoffs last season. The Warriors are 11-4, first place in the NLL, a half game up on Saskatchewan with 3 games left in the regular season. They have clinched a home playoff game, date and time still to be announced on that one, but they are building off that second half and playoff run that they had last year. They look even better this year. It is a fun atmosphere at Rogers Arena. I think that playoff game is going to be outstanding, much like the big games were last season. So I am very much looking forward to watching the Warriors and see if they can bring a trophy here to Vancouver.
Somebody has to. Somebody's got to win a trophy in this town.
Well, the Vancouver Canadians tend to win a lot of trophies. We know that. The Whitecaps, all they do is win Canadian championships 4 in a row now. Got darn close to MLS Cup and Supporter Shield last year. Vancouver Rise, of course, were the inaugural champions of the Northern Super League last season. So, yeah, we have...
Nibbling around the edges there. It's coming.
Yeah. Golden Ice probably won't win the PWHL crown this year. They fall 3-0 in Montreal last night. No score entering the third, but they give up 3 from there, and they failed to build on that victory over New York on the weekend. They fall back to 7th place. Top 4 make the playoffs here. They are 7 points in arrears with several teams to jump. New York, Ottawa, Toronto, they got to get past all 3 of those. 6 games left in the season. Golden Eyes into Minnesota on Saturday.
Yeah, they're up against it anyway because that's a lot of teams that they're chasing, but that would have been a big one last night.
Tiger Woods and a judge in Florida has granted permission for international travel for Tiger Woods to attend a treatment facility, and he won't be the Ryder Cup captain for the United States. The sheriff's office down there in Jupiter, Florida, has released, all sorts of video of the Tiger arrest from the moments after it happened when Tiger's on the roadside to the sobriety test. Those of you on visual platforms are seeing Tiger in the back of the cruiser. As many are saying, he doesn't look good there. There's drowsiness. There's hiccups. Now, he did blow a 000, and he is fighting the DUI.
So he did admit to the sheriff who's questioning him all the medicine that he's on.
He mentioned that he had taken pills in the morning, and of course they found pills on his person. Now, some context there. That was after the car rolled over, so
you're allowed to be sore and a little bit
shaken up.
Yeah.
I have no doubt. Now, both items on yesterday's agenda with regards to the international treatment and the Ryder Cup captaincy are getting some well-founded skepticism, particularly in, independent golf media. Tiger said to the judge, or Tiger's lawyer said to the judge, that they want international treatment because of privacy. And some in golf media, I saw Stephen A. Smith on ESPN yesterday, also seized on this concept of Tiger and privacy now, because I've seen it wondered now in golf media whether Tiger disappearing from view is actually a good thing, given that he cited privacy for not having a driver, according to People magazine. Like, the big question last week was, Tiger, what the hell are you doing driving, particularly if you're taking these strong painkillers? And apparently the answer is, privacy. He's afraid about a driver and leaking things about his private life, which of course makes you wonder what's going on in his private life. So the theory being that privacy has become a code word for Tiger for keeping on with drug use and hopefully not reckless driving anymore. Again, there's been 4 episodes with Tiger going back to 2009. And look, there's a large part of me that sympathizes here. Addiction is a beast. It is very, very difficult to get off those painkillers.
Oh my gosh!
Particularly if you have a legitimate reason, and I think we do all know that Tiger's got some legitimate reason for all the injuries, the knee and the back troubles, and then after the rollover in California in 2021, where he could have easily died and spent a long time in hospital. As for the PGA of America and the Ryder Cup,
I mean, I don't understand the suspicion about privacy. What's the contention here?
That he's actually not going to go get treatment, that he's just going to go disappear onto a secluded beach for a month or 6 weeks and come back.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, but privacy is privacy. I mean, if he's going to lie about the treatment, I suppose he could be lying about the treatment, but I mean, if it's not court mandated at this point, I mean, you can't
force him.
You can't force him. You can lead the horse to water.
You can only take him at his word. And a statement the other day, 2 days ago, he talked about going off and seeking help and treatment, which everyone was, yes, please, Tiger.
Now, if it's court mandated treatment, he's skipping out on that. That's different, but this isn't.
This isn't. No. As for the Ryder Cup captaincy, the PGA of America said Tiger informed them he will not be serving. And look, I suspect that's true. But coming off the disaster that was Bethpage under Captain Keegan Bradley for the U.S. team of the PGA of America, were they actually going to name him captain for next year's event in Ireland, given the events of last week? Again, the temperature has turned up here. And I saw many say, here's another example of the golf industry bowing to Tiger, which is a form of enablement, right?
I mean, a form of
like you saw the statements from the PGA Tour and Augusta National, right?
Yeah.
And look, there was a time you may remember Hootie scolding him from the dais of Augusta National when he had his extramarital affair and was in the National Enquirer for all his activities. That's probably too far on one side, but there are many, particularly in the sports media, not necessarily the golf media, they're looking at all this and saying he is the needle. He has been the needle for a number of years. And so those in the golf industry and golf media have gone awfully soft on him for years, and they're seeing another pattern of people going soft on Tiger after what was another scary incident. Remember, thankfully no one was hurt here, but this is twice now that Tiger has gotten away with rolling a vehicle.
Okay, no one's disputing.
Nobody having any kind, and luckily nobody getting hurt.
No one's disputing that Tiger has engaged in reckless behavior for a number of years now. The question is, do I need to hear the lecture on that behavior from the masters? Like, my hope is that somebody that actually has some pressure on him. And it might still be the same people, Matt. I just don't think I need a public admonishment of Tiger
but
from the Masters.
Yeah, okay, but here's the thing, Blake. And, Wright Thompson's piece on ESPN a number of years ago was very instructive in all this. There is nobody in Tiger's world that can tell him anything.
That might be
his
case.
dad's long gone. His
Mm-hmm.
mother has passed away. His agent, Mark Steinberg, has been a facilitator. I mean, his agent, until a couple of years ago, was still calling him kid, as though he was 19 or 20 years old. And the Wright Thompson piece of several years ago painted a picture of Tiger alone in his house for periods of time on end. And of course, what's he doing alone in his house? With nobody sort of in the circle of Tiger being able to give him any kind of advice or raise a red flag with him. So the question becomes, if you have this rich, powerful, famous person who has absolutely nobody in his circle who is of equal footing, who can look him in the eye and say, hey, Tiger, what about this? Maybe you ought to think of this. Then do you have someone who is going to just continue with the same pattern of behavior?
Well,
I would like to think his kids are now old enough to say something to dad.
I think all these people in the golf industry have every right and maybe interest in admonishing him and having hard conversations with him, but I would do that privately. Like saying he needs to, he's got our support and we hope he does well in his recovery. Like I think people are asking too much to have a 12-step program sort of forced down their throat by the Masters or by the PGA of America. Do that in private. And ultimately, it's up to Tiger to fix Tiger.
For sure.
Like nobody else is fixing Tiger but Tiger. And if he doesn't have friends, if he doesn't have a circle of people around him that can have those conversations, that's on Tiger. That's a guy that has then either put himself in an environment or created an environment that prevents that from happening. Like, be the person you want to be. So,
and Blake, if he's at home alone and he's using, hey, those are his choices.
Yeah, exactly.
But the second he gets behind the wheel, now he's endangering the public.
Mm-hmm.
Therein lies the issue.
Well, no, but still, like, why are we looking for the Masters to be the moral guiding light on that? Like, why is there criticism of what their statement says? Like, again, you can criticize them all you want, but I don't think a golf tournament, I think the onus is on them to be admonishing Tiger publicly and saying, this is what you need to do with your life.
Well, they've done it once before, though. That's what I think some people are hearkening, and probably too harshly. Anyways, I just hope for his sake he gets help. Apparently he was looking to play in this tournament.
In which tournament?
The Masters. Next week.
Yeah. I think the par 3 would have been a nice gesture. Let's see him play in the par 3 if he gets through that.
Results of the poll question from yesterday. We asked you, do you want Rutherford running the rebuild? Yes or no? People said
no.
Percentage?
87.
And again, there's Mike has done the diagnostics. There is tabulation errors on Twitter X polls these days. But it was 90% who wanted Allvin out. We don't ever claim these are scientific, but 90% wanted Allvin out a couple of days ago. 87% don't think Rutherford should be running the rebuild. We don't know whether the Canucks consider their public anymore. God knows there is a huge distance between the Canucks and their public these days. But I think it is getting down to a conclusion, as Jeff Merrick was saying earlier. No, don't piecemeal this. If you're going to make the change, make the full change. Put the people in here who may get to the other side of the rainbow and the brighter day. I do not have an error or an omission from yesterday's program, so we will wish you adieu on this Easter weekend. As mentioned, we will not have a program on Good Friday. We will be back here on Monday. Thank you for joining and spending time with this show. We appreciate your eyes and ears. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels, YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Follow on social, X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky Live, many of those platforms, noon Pacific weekdays. And please support the community sponsors you hear us talking about. Keep it local.